I got divorced. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep.
You're in the box, you just had how you throw it.
This lifestyle requires a level of, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes that most people just don't have. You're fucking running in circles.
Dominic, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is your show.
Thanks for having me.
Paid for it by dog.
You have to understand that there's going to be a point of your life that you sacrifice for the ability to do something far greater later on. So I would say that I sacrificed a lot of my younger years of like partying and relationships and, you know, intimate relationships with females. Like I didn't get to do a lot of the stuff that normal people did, and family time, birthdays, holidays, whatever, you know, because I just was so locked in on building, you know, what this is today and what all the other businesses are today. But again, like best trade-off of life, because now I'm able to do things that, you know, most people don't get to do ever. And it's just understanding mentally that you're going to sacrifice, I guess you could call it distraction or a short-term, you know, whatever you want to call it, for just a much better long-term life.
Yeah. I mean, what age did entrepreneurship start to really appeal to you?
I would say that I was always an entrepreneur, man. Like, I don't think it's like something that you just flip a switch on one day and you become them. I think it's like you're just bred into it. I started when I was in high school. I was selling candy at my school, so I went to BJ's and I would buy like the badass candy, like the different crazy flavored Skittles, and I would give them out to like 15 or 20 kids in the morning, and they would sell the bags, and it would cost me like $8 or $6 to $8 for 30, and I would get $30 back, and they would keep $5 a bag. So I do that every day. I was making like $300-400 a day. The second I got my driver's license, I bought a pressure cleaner and I bought like a surface cleaner. I started pressure washing driveways, and then from there I started a delivery business. So like I never really had a job where I worked for other people. I literally did my shit my whole life. I got into online coaching when I was in college, and I really just continued that way. So I think if you want to ask me like why I did it, I think when I was younger I watched my mom work really hard for other people, and I realized that, you know, if I was going to work that hard in my life, I was going to do it for myself, and I wasn't going to make anyone else rich.
What's your take on work-life balance?
I don't think that there is a work-life balance. I think that when you're an entrepreneur, you choose a job that becomes a part of your life. And in order to be successful, really successful at anything, I think that you end up just understanding that life involves work. And if you can balance the two, and you can come to a place where you enjoy what you do and you can still do all the things you want to, that's great. But yeah, no, I don't think there's such thing as that. At least in the early time of doing this, it's not there.
As an entrepreneur, how do you decide what to double down on versus what you need to walk away from?
I think early on, you know, you just think you need to double down on everything because you just want to get shit done. But I think there's like a certain point in your career as an entrepreneur where you realize like you're really good at one thing and you need to double down on what you're great at, and then you need to hire what you're not good at. So I think like that's one of the things that I've learned from a really young age is like the most important thing that you can do is like you need to be great at what you're great at and go all in on what you're great at, and then you need to hire people who are better for the things that you're not good at, because spreading your time across things you're not good at is just going to take away from the things that you're great at too, and that's a lose-lose situation. You can't win in that situation.
What was the biggest risk you feel that you've ever taken as an entrepreneur?
I mean, I think the biggest risk I took as an entrepreneur was probably when I told my mom to quit her job and I told her to come and work for me, because like my whole goal, my whole life was to retire my mom. So when we started Raw, I gave my mom 25% of like my piece of Raw. Obviously that turned out really well for her, but it was like a great way to motivate me to not fuck up, I'll tell you that.
What pressure comes with building something that feeds other people's families, not just your own?
It's the most pressure. It's the only motivation you need every day. I think when people ask me what motivates me to wake up every day and continue to work as hard as I do and I don't need to anymore, it's because I have hundreds of people who rely on me to eat, and their kids and their husbands and their wives. And I mean, that's pressure that is wildly heavy. And if you can deal with that, but it's like a motivation too. It's like, I got to do this not just for me. I don't need to do this for me anymore. I'm good. You know, I need to do it for everyone else here.
How did you cope with burnout when you're younger?
There's no such thing, man. These fucking kids who think like you're burnt out because you worked a 10-hour day, like that, you just go. You figure it out. If you want it enough, you're going to figure it the fuck out.
What about your mom? What was the best piece of advice that she gave you?
She didn't give me any advice verbally. I watched what she did. So I think the best thing that I can say about my mom is she never sat me down and gave me, do this, do that, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. It was more like I just got to watch her be super successful in everything she did. And like, if you guys don't know the story, my mom started working at BJ's Wholesale Club as a cashier 37 years ago. And she worked her way all the way up to be the vice president of the company. So we were dirt poor. And I lived in my grandma's house with, you know, my aunts, my uncles, my mom, my dad. I mean, there were like 11 people living in a shitty 3-bedroom apartment. And we went from that to, you know, seeing where we came down here and got our first house. And, you know, I visually could see our lives get better the harder and the more my mom put into her work. So that's like, for me, I watched that and I was like, fuck, like, I know she's doing really well, but now I saw her boss and how he lived, and I was like, yeah, fuck that. Like, I'm not doing this shit for nobody else. So that was what like really turned me into wanting to be an entrepreneur.
Talk to us about some of the hardships that being an entrepreneur really like. I wanted to go specifically to financial hardships when you first started this, but
Yeah.
there was definitely some struggling days. Can you talk us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you like, you know, get into a really saturated realm of business, I think like the 3 questions you have to ask yourself is like, what makes you unique? What makes people want to buy your product, you know, more than someone else's? And then I also think like people buy into the person that owns the brand as much as they buy into the brand themselves. So I think when you look at things, it's like, how can you win in all those categories? And when you're this small in a fucking, you know, industry that's this big, it's obviously scary. So we ran into every challenge. No one knew who we were. We didn't have the money. We didn't have the buying power. We didn't have the warehouse. We didn't have the athletes. We didn't have a ton of stuff. Every one of those challenges was a challenge in itself. But I think the biggest challenge in entrepreneurship, more so than any of that, is what it does to your personal life when you first start. So like, I got divorced, you know, like I had a shit relationship with food. I didn't eat. If you look at photos of me from 6 years ago, I would look like fucking shit. You know, I was out of shape. You could tell I was exhausted. I had bags under my eyes that were enormous. I didn't sleep. You know, I literally got divorced. And I'm not saying it was all because of this, but I think like this lifestyle requires a level of, you know, I'm going to do whatever the fuck it takes that most people just don't have. And I think that if you go into this realm of business with the mindset of you're not going to quit, like no matter what, you're going to figure out how to get through it. You're going to get through it because you're not going to quit. But I think the easy way out in you know, the new generation is like, I'm just going to do something else. You know, I can't tell you how many fucking kids I know that start one career and then they don't become rich overnight. So they go sell insurance and they go back over here. Then they're doing this, then they're doing that. And it's like, you're fucking running in circles. You know, you're not doing anything because you're not committing to anything.
I mean, you committed to multiple businesses in different industries.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You've been quite successful at all of them.
Yeah.
Why not just go all in into one thing?
If you asked me that question, I would say I did. So like what I did was I was all in on the medical offices until I realized that I wasn't the best person to run those. So me walking away and saying I'm still the owner, but I'm going to bring someone on that is better at it to run it than me, it makes sense for me to do that, right? Some of the most successful founders at one point or another realize that they're not meant to be in the role they're in, and they put the people in those roles that should be there. So for Relive, it wasn't me. I was too young to run medical offices at the time. I was 27. I was covered in tattoos. No one really took me seriously in that realm, whereas like you put someone in there who's a professional, who has clinical backing, they're the face, they do it, and then I can just pull the strings, right? Like that's what I can do. And then for Raw, I felt like there was no one who could run this business better than me. So I knew that I belonged in that seat. So I did go all in on Raw. And then, you know, the other brands are all very similar. I would argue that all my brands fall underneath like a health and wellness umbrella. You know what I mean? So like for me, I can kind of play off of each other, and they kind of feed each other in a way, and they support each other in a way. So when you say going all in, I think I did. I just think I built a really good team to be able to do it the way I want to do it.
Who taught you the most about leadership? How did you become the leader that you are today?
I think the process of where I am today, and I still think I can be better, right? I don't think I'm the best leader in the world, but I do believe that it's from doing. So I think that leaders who get put in a leadership position without doing, you know, I mean, dude, I used to pack our boxes. You know, every single part of this business I did. I packed boxes, I answered customer service, I worked in marketing, I did Klaviyo email, like I did it all. I think that being a leader, a good leader, you need to understand what it takes to do everything, because then you can relate to the person doing it and you can lead them better. I think that people who've never been in those positions, it's very difficult to say like, why are you doing this wrong? Or, you know, they don't understand the disconnects because they don't know what it takes to do. So I think it's just understanding. You know, I go down there, I talk to you guys as much as I can. I go in the warehouse, I talk to the warehouse guys as much as I can. I want you guys to know that I'm relatable. I want you guys to know that if you have a problem, you can come talk to me. I think leadership is relationships. You know, treating people well, treating people with respect, not treating anyone better than anybody else. And if you can do all that and you can be, I guess you could call it like an even playing field with everybody, you just get a connection with people that traditionally you wouldn't get just being a typical CEO.
What separates entrepreneurs who just like to talk about building things versus those who actually do it?
That's easy. It's the ones that do it. I mean, you can talk about doing something all you want, but proof is when you do it, right? And you're only as good as the last thing you do. So for me, like one of the big things that I always say to everybody is, and I tell this to all my teams, like, because, for example, you build Raw, you build Bum, super successful. Then you have, 3D coming up in the ranks. And I sit my team down all the time and I say, guys, you can use my name as much as you want to build this brand. I am a part of it. But the second this doesn't work right, I lose everything. You guys are the make or break to my reputation in this space. Does that make sense? So for me, it's like you're only as good as the last thing you do.
What part of entrepreneurship do you feel like you're still till this day figuring it out and it bothers you because it's not as well shaped as other parts?
I think for me, the one thing that I have a hard time understanding is like I have imposter syndrome like to the max. Yeah, so like for me, I still feel like I'm not good enough to do the things that we're doing in a way. Like I don't think like I should talk about entrepreneurship because I think there's so many people who are better at it than me. But then when like I take a step back and I start to see and like look back at the awards that I've won and the people I've gone against, it's like fuck, like we're doing it. Like I think for me, like I'm just one of those people who's not really ever satisfied with where we are, and I think that there's so much more that can be done. And I think that that's as much as it is a blessing, it is a curse. That constant like we can do better, we can do better, we can do better. Keep chasing this carrot over and over and further and further. Yeah, does it push you guys and does it get the most out of everyone and do we do amazing things with it? For sure. But there's also this like weird feeling of like not being satisfied, even though like what else could you ask for in the world, right? That it sucks to feel sometimes.
You got to be honest with yourself. Where do you think that comes from?
Oh, like deep. I think it comes from my relationship with my dad. I think that when I was younger, I could never please my dad, no matter what I did. Like it would be one of those things where like you could do everything great, you could have the best baseball game, you could do the best whatever, and it was like never enough. So for me, like the way that I work and the way that I move is because like I don't want anyone to ever think that I don't work hard and that I'm not like equipped to do what I should be doing. So it's like this constant state of overworking, over analyzing, over training, over everything, because I never want to hear anyone say like I don't deserve what I have.
Do you think you will be able to retire?
No, I'll never be able to retire. I'll be helping my son do whatever he wants to do and supporting him. And it's honestly made me a better father because I've learned so much of what I want to change from my childhood to now. But no, I don't think I'm going to retire. I mean, I may do less. I may like be, in the background more, but I enjoy this stuff. I really do. As much as like I have this like point to prove internally in my head, this is all like a game now. It's like, it's not about the money. It's not about the cool shit. It's all about like the game is the business and like how do you win? And you win by doing this, and like I just want to win. I don't give a shit about the money.
My next question, recently with getting acquired by the Quality Group,
Yeah.
those founders, the students also in that kind of position as I did it,
Yeah.
wipe your hands clean, I'm going to walk away from this.
Yeah.
What keeps you going?
I mean, I doubled down. Like I didn't sell but 51%. So like for me, like I knew we had so much more to do and I'm going to do it, So I still have 49% left in this bitch to get, and I'm going to get it. What would my advice to my son be to be successful in life? To value relationships more than anything in the world. I think that your relationships with the people that you meet are the most valuable part of being in business. The other piece of it would be, if you love something enough to go all in on it with your whole life, I don't think you can not be successful at it because you love it and it's a passion. Whereas if you're pushing an agenda on yourself because like I don't want my son to feel pressured because I did X, Y, and Z and he has to, do it because I did it, or he needs to become a bajillionaire or whatever it is because he feels the pressure from me. I want him to just love what he does. And I think that you can find success, because what is your version of success, first of all, right? Like my version of success is waking up every day when I want to and enjoying what I do on a daily basis. And, that's the message I want to give to him. Like success isn't what everyone thinks it is.
I'm going to go to some of your quotes here, Dom. I have a quote here that says, I give trust to pretty much everybody until I don't.
Yeah.
How has that shaped hiring, accountability, or partnerships at Raw?
Yeah, I just don't have like a bullshit tolerance like I used to. You know, I think that I've learned through, life that trust is something that's very, very, very hard to get, and I give it to everybody. But as soon as you lose it, you don't get it back at all, ever. I think that you can make mistakes for sure, and I can warrant those based off of the circumstance at hand. But traditionally, people who lose it don't get it back.
What are trust breakers for you?
I think one of my biggest things is like I'm the type of person who like if you got shit going on that's bad, like in work, at home, just tell me and like let me help you through it and let's get through it together. But don't not tell me something and then like try to fix it or try to keep it from me and then come to me later and be like, hey, I fucked this up and you knew 6 months ago, but now you're telling me in 2 days and I have to scramble to do something. That's like that's like a no-go for me. You can ask anyone who's ever been in a meeting with me. It's like, if you have a problem, fucking come to me. Do not put it in between your own ears and not tell anybody. And that goes with everything. Like, even if I think about Enzo, like, I want him to have a relationship with me where he can feel comfortable coming to me and saying, Dad, like, I fucked up. What do I do? I don't want him to lie to me and then me find out from somebody else. Like, my biggest pet peeve is when I find something else out from someone and not the person. And I know all of you guys have heard me say it. Like, if you have a problem with somebody or if there's an issue, who do you go to? You go to that fucking person. You don't go to me. You don't go to anyone else. You go directly to them and you talk to them because 99.99% of the time it can be fixed between you two and not involving the whole world. So that's like probably like my biggest thing.
You emphasize humility and growth. We see that the way that you speak about your family, the brands that you've built, the people that you've gotten business with. What does ego look like when you're scaling fast, and how do you keep it in check?
I mean, egos, in my opinion, is just thinking that you can do things better than everybody else. And I think that if you look at any great business that's failed, it's due to an egocentric driven founder or CEO. So there's a point in time, like I just told you earlier, where you're not the right fit for the role, right? But you can still be the owner, and there's humility and there's so much pride in knowing that and giving it to someone to make it better, right? And I think that if every single person in the world put their brand before themselves, you would see so much more success. But people, and there's many supplement company owners who do this where like they won't bring other faces into the brand because they want to be the face of the brand. So the brand will never live to what it could be because they're gatekeeping the popularity of the brand because they want to be the face of it. That's in everything, right? It's in companies, it's in anything. But in my advice, like nothing speaks more volumes than when your business becomes bigger than yourself. We all wanted Raw to be bigger than all of us. And like, look what it's become. It's become bigger than all of us. Like people know Raw that don't know who the fuck me, Chris, or Matt are. They just know Raw. That's awesome. But if we were egocentric assholes, we would want to make sure that we were number one and Raw was number two. And that's just not what it takes to be successful in anything. I think you just need proof, right? Like if you're gonna follow someone, if you're gonna listen to people's advice on social media about entrepreneurship and business, like just make sure they've actually fucking done it. Make sure they have a track record that shows they've built something, sold something, done something, because if people's revenue or monetary existence comes from selling a course on how you can be successful, there's a really good chance that they're not fucking successful and they don't know what they're doing because they would do it for themselves. Why do you need to sell a course on how to build a 9-figure brand? If you have a 9-figure brand, you should be very comfortable just with that money.
Right. What is the ultimate goal for Raw? Like what's like next? What will be the future?
I want Raw to be the biggest sports nutrition brand in the US. I want to do it in a way where I can like walk Enzo into a store and he still thinks it's cool when he's old enough to take it. And that's the big piece is like, how do you consistently bring generational excitement and generational hype to a brand that's 20, 25 years old? And it doesn't traditionally happen that often, but there are some brands that have done it, and I would love to be one of those brands.
You said in the quote down, what got us here is not what's going to get us to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is there's two things, right? There's money and team. So, and unfortunately, you can't get the team without the money. We grew this company super lean. We had no debt. We never took a loan. We never took institutional money. We never took partnerships. It was me, Matt, and Chris the whole time. So for us, it was like we knew we could operate a business to a certain point. But like when you're dealing with Vitamin Shop, GNC, Walmart, Sam's Club, fucking all these different huge retailers, $20, $30 million a month in business, that is a significant load on a company without the right team and without the capitalization to do it. And there has to be a point in time where, as a brand, to scale, you need to put a huge investment into inventory and you need to put a huge investment into people. And when you're running a brand lean like we are, because we didn't have that capitalization, you can't pick those things. You can't do those things. So we knew that, one, we wanted to find a partner that has done what we want to do, that has taken a brand from, you know, 200 million a year to $1 billion a year. And we knew we needed someone to help us build that team, and we needed the capital. So how does that work and how do we do it? That's why we picked the Quality Group when we chose to do this venture. We had multiple other opportunities to pick other people who were willing to give us more money, but they weren't the right team. They weren't the right fit. They weren't the right partner. So that's your answer.
Love it. You're quick with this shit, dude.
Well, I'm not making it up.
Yeah. You've reframed celebrity-driven marketing to be more about ownership. How has that influenced Braw's identity in the long term?
I think that founder-led brands are the new way to connect with your audience. And I had a conversation with the target buyer actually about this. They don't like celebrity-backed brands. They're like, they don't work. You know, you can't just put someone's face on something and expect it to sell anymore because the consumer can read through the bullshit. And I agree with that. I think that there's nothing more valuable than the core values and the core message behind a brand and the people who are building it. And I think if you can resonate the marketing and the founder-led part of the brand into what the brand is and tell that story, I think it's so valuable for brand and culture.
Proud of yourself.
Yeah, that's a good question. This goes back to imposter syndrome for sure. And I should be, for sure. I think I should be proud of myself. And I'm proud of what we've done. But I still feel like there's a lot that I can do better. You know, like I think that with me, like I know I probably do this with you guys a lot too. Like I always give the positive reinforcement of, hey, you're doing a great job, but, right? Like, but, and there's always things that we can nail and make better. And I want to say yes, like in my heart of hearts, I want to say I'm proud of myself, but then I catch myself saying, but I know that I can be better. And
Why is that so hard for you, bro?
what?
The but.
I don't know, because I know there's things that I can still work on to be a better person, a better leader, a better father, a better husband, a better everything, right? And like, I need to be better. I need to be better.
Does that come from being around other people that are also like so successful, having conversations with other people?
No, because like, to be fair, like the people who I'm around, like they could be super successful but they could be shit husband or a shit father or a shit this or a shit that. And like for me, like I really care about like setting the right example for people, and like having a kid made me do that even more. But I don't know, man. I feel like, yeah, I'm proud in a way, but I know I can do better.
Bonus question. Best piece of advice you can give to yourself.
I think I would just like reiterate the fact that it's all gonna work out. You know, like all the things that you worry about and all the things that you're petrified of and all the things that, you know, you're risk. And I mean, going through it, like when I was going through my divorce, right? Like
How old were you then?
26. It's all gonna be worth it. It's all gonna work out. I don't know if that's advice as much as it is like I wish I had someone in my ear telling me that, but yeah.
They didn't think I would do it, but I did it. Really having this shit really winning. Was times that I thought I'd forever be sinning and spending whatever to stand on the business. But God bless the game, did it all but a sin. All the shots they let off, but they ain't hitting. All the shots we let off, they ain't mentioned was hitting. Go ask why he's fighting them living.